All right, let's go back to the box as the trophy tour continues. Kolisi and the team have inspired hope among South Africans. Political analyst and academic Professor Tinyiko Maluleke has written an ode to the boy of Zwide, calling him the president we never had. The Prof joins us now. Prof, thank you as always. Firstly, you write about what this win means for South Africa right now. Tell us more.
Yes, it is a momentous win for South Africa, and I think South Africans have been thirsty for a long time for something like this. Of course, you could argue 4 years ago we did it, but I think this time around we're doing it for the second time. And the Springboks have brought the possibility for us to, after COVID, after all those hardships and after all the economic hardships that we have experienced, the load shedding, this moment is very meaningful for South Africans, because I even have a sense that South Africans needed the win more than the Boks, but the Boks delivered the win.
And you get a sense that Kolisi himself understands how important it is for the country. First, you look at his history and you look at how he responds to being seen as the boy who came from a township and rose above or defeated the odds, beat the odds. And his response to that is interesting. Tell us more about his attitude and why you find it so inspirational.
So I start my article by quoting him, where he says, "I'm tired of being celebrated for being a unique person who beat the odds." He says, what would be better is if we were to look at why it was necessary for someone like me to beat the kind of odds I had to beat, and address the conditions that produce those odds that people like myself have had to deal with growing up. And so he is really asking South Africans to look beyond the problems of the past, to have a vision for a different South Africa. He is a very mature rugby player, beyond being the captain who has done it twice, because he understands transformational leadership. He's, of course, very aware that he is not a politician, that he's not a Nelson Mandela. In fact, in his book, he expresses frustration that people often compare him to Nelson Mandela, who he thinks he can't be compared to. I mean, if you think about it, 1995, when Nelson Mandela wore that jersey, number 6, which he wears now, Kolisi was 4 years old, and he doesn't remember much of it except the haka of the New Zealanders. That's what he remembers. But he also thought it was just a nice song that they were doing, a rap of some sort, he says in his book. But look at him now. I think what he has managed to do is to provide leadership at the time when South Africa is thirsty for leadership.
So if he's the president that we have never had, what can politicians and South African leaders learn from him? What is the stuff that he's got?
Well, the ability to lead a team is the first thing. The ability to lead a team. He doesn't pick the team. The coach picks the team, I suppose. But once you have that team, you have to be able to lead it. Cabinet is a team. Members of the mayoral committee and MECs are a team. And I think there is a lot to learn about how teams ought to behave or ought to be led. But let's be honest, I mean, leading politically is not quite the same as leading in the sports field, except that the win you see from the Boks is a result of lots and lots and lots of planning and practicing and making sure that everything you need to have in place is in place ahead of the game. And that much is common to all teams and all leaders. There needs to be planning, and the plan has to be pursued relentlessly. And I think those are some of the things that politicians could learn. And the feeling that we have to win. I mean, why is it that we are losing so many battles in South Africa? I mean, we are losing the energy battle. We are losing the battle for clean water and sanitation. We seem to be losing the infrastructure battle. We are losing the battle for hope and social cohesion. Of course, you can point out all the plans that we have, and we do have plans, but unless they are executed Springbok style, as it were, the way they executed the plan on the field, then we might as well not have these plans.
Yeah, government always criticized for a lack of implementation or execution, as you say. Final question. I mean, Siya Kolisi talking about poverty and conditions that created, those are political statements in a sense. And he has made this about more than rugby, about hope for the nation. He's spoken about the hopelessness. Do you think there's a politician in him? Do you think he'll ever consider that?
I doubt very much. I don't think he wants to go in that direction. Of course, if you read the final parts of his book, his autobiography, he is thinking beyond rugby, certainly. But I don't think he's thinking beyond rugby politically. I think he's thinking beyond rugby in terms of contributing to social cohesion. He's got a foundation. And I make a joke in my article about the motto of his foundation being "Remember the one by one," and how we actually won by 1 point 3 times in a row. So this number one seems to be quite important to him. I don't know that he wants to be a politician. He's a very religious man. He's very conscious about what needs to be done in the country. But I think he wants to do it as a citizen rather than a politician. I hope he doesn't, go in the direction of politics, because I don't know that he will be able to make as much contribution from there as he is making now. Politics is not the only space for contributing to development. And certainly the Springboks have proven that he, through his life, this magnificent, wonderful life of rising up from the township of Zwide, which I describe as a pimple on the face of Port Elizabeth, really. I mean, he has proven that you don't have to be a politician to lead.
Indeed. Let's leave it there. You're right. He has a very loud voice right now, and he is using it. Thank you very much, political analyst Professor Tinyiko Maluleke.